Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Sergio Nazzaro podcast. I'm Sergio Nazzaro, the founder and CEO of, my life. I've grown up here in Colorado and I've decided to stay put as I continue to pursue being an entrepreneur and growing my business as a real estate agent. Prior to this, I graduated from the United States Air Force Academy and served my country for 11 years before becoming a CrossFit coach. I have a lovely wife, Lizzie, and we are in the process of growing our family and living here in the Swans Lake neighborhood. For the last 2 years, I've committed to documenting my process in both my personal and professional life as a means of journaling, and hopefully helping others along the way. So listen in as I share the next chapter of my story. Week 3 of my newly relaunched podcast, and I was talking to some friends. This has been interesting, right? Going solo. Man, I have a new respect for what these podcasters do, but I'm enjoying it. And this week, I want to spend some time up front just to talk about the real estate market. And there's these headlines that the real estate market's going to crash, and there's headlines that the real estate market is cooling. And I think it's important that I can only speak from data that I look at, but more importantly, what is going on my listings and with my buyers. And I think that's a really important piece of information because that is real-time information. That is what's going on in the market. And it's not just one or two clients. It's spread across all of my listings. It is spread across all of my buyers. And so I wanted to share that with you so that, instead of just reading these headlines and taking them for what they're not worth, you can actually hear it from somebody who's doing this day to day. And so, last weekend I had 3 listings go on the market. One was a condo, one was a single family home out in Golden, and one was another single family home out in Littleton. And the one out in Littleton, this was a gorgeous home. My friend Steph, I helped her buy it 2 years ago. And when she bought it 2 years ago, it was a complete fucking dump. I don't know about you guys, but when I walk into a house, I don't have that vision to see what it's going to look like and if we move this wall or decorate this, it'll look good. When I walk in and that's what the home looks like, in my mind, it has to look like that forever. I am so grateful that I have a wife that can see the potential in places. My dad can do that. I just don't have it. But when we walked into that place 2 years ago, she saw it. And so we got it under contract. And over the last 2 years, she's been working on it, updating it, making it look absolutely incredible. And she decided that she wanted to change, what she was doing in life. She wanted to pursue some different things. And so she wanted to sell her home and kind of just be free. And so we put this home on the market. And when I tell you that it was gorgeous, it's a mid-century mod. She had everything to a T was done. When I tell you that this is the busiest listing I've ever had in my real estate career, it's not an understatement. I had, within the first 2 hours of it going live, I had 60 showings. And within the first 12 hours, all my showing slots over 4 days were booked. We had 120 showings. We had another 50 people come to the open house on Saturday, probably another 40 groups come to the open house on Friday evening. And to say that the market is cooling, I think is a little bit of an understatement. And what I want to share with all of you is that we received an offer on Friday evening for, I think it was $60,000 above list price. And my client and I, Steph and I, had a conversation about, hey, if this happens, how should we handle this? And I laid out the options. I was like, 1, you can accept this offer. That's a strong offer. But I believe that if you wait until our deadline, which is always going to be Monday at noon for when offers are going to be due, that's my process. I believe that if you wait until Monday, they will still be there. So we had that conversation and we wanted to give everybody an opportunity to see the home. We wanted to make sure that all these buyers could come through. And we ended up with 22 offers. The home was listed at $560. We had multiple offers above $650. And we ended up getting under contract for significantly above list price. Now, it's not just about the price on these either, right? You have these multiple offers and we have to use those offers to get really good terms. Minimal inspection, full appraisal gap, quick close, earnest money becoming non-refundable. You name it, right? We have to use what is given to us by the market to ensure that the seller is protected. And if she had accepted that first offer, she wouldn't have had any of that, non-refundable earnest money. She wouldn't have had the best offer. She wouldn't have had an offer where she's at today. And I'll eventually, we'll do a little bit of prices, right? Like we always do on my social media, and, we'll share what that price is. But she did really well for herself. And the truth of the matter is I had to make 21 phone calls to people that didn't get the home. And that's a hard phone call to make. But when you hear about the market's cooling, there's going to be a little bit of seasonality in this fall. And that's not natural, right? There's less homes, which means sometimes there's less buyers. But I do think it's still going to be a really strong fall. But I would encourage you, if you're a buyer and you're thinking about, getting into your first home, use this as an opportunity to potentially secure a place. It may not be the home of your dreams, but it's just a stepping stone. Use this as an opportunity to maybe not have as much competition, still take advantage of low interest rates. And as a seller, right, let's have a conversation if you're thinking about selling, right? If you have to sell right now, that's different than if you're choosing to sell, to maximize your return. I think there is some importance on when you do that. And there's also times throughout the year that you probably don't want to put your home on the market if you're trying to net the most money. But those headlines that you're seeing about the market cooling off or that the market's going to crash, right? I think the buyer demand is still really high and inventory is still extremely low. And until that starts to change, which, right now indicators aren't saying that it will, I think we're going to be in this for a while. So hold on to that. And with all of that real estate stuff, right, like that takes up a lot of my time. Man, it is hot. I am recording in my third story office. We're still trying to get this together. But I have the AC off because it's cool out, but obviously it's not cool enough. So for those of you who are watching, you probably see a nice little glisten on this bald head of mine. But gosh, I just go off tangents so often. With all that work that I had with 3 listings going live, sometimes you are so attached to your cell phone. You're so attached to social media, right? I try to create my social media presence and grow my personal brand that over the last, I would say, week to 10 days, I felt extremely disconnected. Between my heart and my soul and my mind. Like I just feel like I've been so nonchalant. Like I used to be so structured in my life, and I've purposely looked at those structures to see if they were still serving me. And I've done a lot of work on that to figure out if the way I was living my life, with this very structured, disciplined lifestyle was actually serving my larger purpose. And I'm so grateful that I have a coach in Tim Adams that helps me think about things differently. And, he always has different perspectives for me to think about. And, one of the things that kind of came to my mind was, since I'm so attached to my computer, to my cell phone, to social media, I've been so connected virtually that virtual connection has made me feel disconnected in real life. It's hard for me to hear my own thoughts. It's hard for me to connect sometimes with my own feelings. It's hard for me to connect with myself. And I think it's because I lack that stillness. I lack that time to be bored. I lack that time when things are just quiet. And so in the last week, I've really tried to make that something in the forethought of my mind, something that I want to focus on, something that I want to make, an important thing to me, because I want to reconnect with myself. I want to be able to hear my own thoughts. I don't want, whatever is being said to me or told to me on social media that I'm consuming to be all I hear. And so the other day I was sitting out in my back patio, just in a chair with some water, no cell phone. I just sat there for a little bit. And I did it the other day on a bike ride, and I've done it, working out. And it's wild how fast, you can reconnect with yourself when you just create some stillness and some peace. And I think that's where our intuition comes from, our ability to stay connected to who we are, to what we know. That sometimes when that gets overshadowed or the other external noises get so loud that we get removed from that. And so Tim has helped me a lot with focusing on that. And, one of the things that I've really been trying to do, as well as creating stillness, is really limit my time consuming so that I can have my own thoughts. And I don't always do the best at that, right? My social media and my screen time can definitely be higher than I would like, but it's definitely getting better. But the real thing that I wanted to talk about, no, not the real thing. That is very important to me. But, I had my coaching call with Tim on Friday, and one of the things that kind of we really talked about on that one is this idea that we all have patterns in our life. And those patterns were created at some point in our childhood or some point in our life to serve us or to protect us. And one of the patterns that I've seen in my life, and it's been widespread, is this ability to create out of lack, an ability to have my back against the wall and fight my way out. And I've become a master of that. And I've seen it everywhere. When about 3 or 4 years into a relationship, I would always want to get out of that relationship and pursue something else. Or 3 to 4 years into a job, I would get bored and I'd want to pursue something else. Or 3 to 4 years into working at a CrossFit gym, I would want to go to a different gym and basically recreate this container of lack because that's all I know how to do, or that's all I knew how to do. When I'm in lack, I know how to create the narrative and to create the drive and to create the motivation to get results. I built my current business out of lack. I didn't have anything. I didn't know what I was doing, and that was a big motivator for me. That's a huge motivator for me. And Tim pointed out to me that I've become a master of lack. Fuck, Malcolm Gladwell would be stoked that I put in more than 10,000 hours on creating a life and a business out of lack. And that has served me really well. But it's not going to allow me to get to where I want to go. And the analogy that Tim said is I used a boat to cross this ocean, the ocean of lack. And when I finally hit the shore, I stayed in the boat trying to cross land in that boat. Basically, what he's saying is that what got me to where I am today cannot get me to where I want to go. Something's got to change. And it's me developing abundance. And it's me developing self-love. Because when I'm working out of lack, that leads to competition and comparison, which I talked about. And that competition and comparison can be very unhealthy. Whereas if I'm doing things for myself because I want to do them, because I want to be better, and I'm doing them out of love, it's no longer about any of you. It's no longer about me trying to compete with somebody else. It's no longer about me being better than somebody. It's about me doing it for me growing because I know I can, me doing it because I love myself. And I've never tapped into that. And so, this call happened on Friday, right? So all day Friday, when I went to work out, I chose to go for me, right? Before I would go because, I wanted to be in shape. I wanted to look good for not only myself, but for other people, which is a weird fucking concept. And I would work harder than anybody else on my computer because I was trying to prove to other people that weren't even watching that I would outwork them. And so for the last 48 hours, I've been cognizant about what I'm doing. I chose to go on a mountain bike ride with my friends because that's what I wanted to do. I chose to work out this morning because I wanted to be healthy. I've chosen to be thoughtful about what I'm consuming on social media, right? This is brand new for me, and I think you can hear it in my voice that I still don't know exactly what it is, but I'm just trying to be aware of creating life and making decisions out of abundance instead of lack. And so I'm excited to see how this kind of plays out. And I think it's something that I'm going to be talking about a lot over the next few weeks, months, and years. So it's kind of where my head's been at. It's been a really interesting couple of weeks. A little bit of a struggle, which struggles are always good because they give you an opportunity. And that's what I kind of want to end on. So for the longest time, working with Tim, there's this thought of us placing meaning on things that we don't need to place meaning on. And it's in the words that we use, right? Like I like to say, I have a problem, or this is an opportunity. And when I say that, problem has a negative connotation, opportunity has a positive connotation to it. However, it's all just an adventure, no matter what it is. We're going through life, whether it's an opportunity or it's a problem, it's an adventure. And when I went on my bachelor party with the Wilderness Collective, one of the guides there said that the adventure doesn't begin until something goes wrong. And I loved it. And so over the next, not even over the next few weeks, I've just been trying to take that in, just like, instead of placing meaning on things, just realizing that this is just an adventure. This is all a journey, and we have the opportunity to learn and to grow. And sometimes it looks messy, and sometimes it sounds messy. I feel like this has sounded a little bit messy, but I'm also giving myself a little bit of grace on this one. So I feel like I've been all over the place. And I'm going to keep going all over the place, but today, as for those of you who are watching this, right, it's our first Broncos home game. And my wife, Lizzie Ray, aka Lasagna, she's going to be dancing at halftime. So she used to be a Broncos cheerleader, and they're calling her back to perform at halftime. And it's going to be pretty awesome. So this is going to be one of the first times that I get to see her dance whilst being in a relationship with her, because before that, she would just reject me and turn me down, and we weren't in a relationship together. Shout out to Lizzie for sticking to her guns and waiting until I was ready and she was ready. But big day for the Broncos is going to be awesome. Big day for Lizzie. I can't wait to see her. And this concludes episode 3. A little all over the place, but we're getting there and we're working on it. Take care, y'all.